Right, thank you, Sent. And we are just about ready to go with that Wind Waker run. I want to get in one quick donation before we head up there. I've got $10.23 from Patrick Weed. Wind Waker is one of my favorite Zeldas, and I've got a question for one of my favorite people. Conbro, be my best man, please. Great job, Linkus, and let's take all the cancer and push it somewhere else. And with that, let's go ahead and throw it up to Linkus for this Wind Waker run. Take it away, man.
All right. Well, hello, everybody. My name is Linkus7, and today we're going to be doing a speedrun of The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker Any %. There's a couple of things I want to go over. However, we do have this beautiful intro in this version of the game, so we're going to do the intro as we watch the intro. So if time is ready, we can go in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, but yeah, so in the past recent GDQs, you will notice that we've been speedrunning on the HD version of this game. However, recently, it was just discovered that you can do the big sequence break barrier skip on the GameCube version, which has been impossible for, well, ever since launch, and for the 2 years that it was found for the HD version. So after that was found, we've been grinding to try and make a route work for an RTA setting, which hopefully will be right now. And you're also going to notice that, unlike the HD version, this is being played on the Japanese version. Number one, text is actually faster on the GameCube version when you play on Japanese. And then one of the major glitches that we're going to go over later in the run only works on this version because it's kind of like the 1.0 release, because it was released a couple of months before the international releases. But yeah, also next to me on the couch, well, on the chair, I should say in this case, I have Gymnast86.
Hello.
He's a fellow Wind Waker runner. He runs a ton of different Zelda games. But yeah, so we're kind of just going to go through this run. Going to do our best to explain everything as it goes by. There is a glitch coming up right as we get past the intro, but this intro is actually kind of long. It's like 5-6 minutes. So if you want to read like 1 or 2 donations before we get there, that would be great.
Sounds good. Let's start with $200 from Vicky. Honk? No? Okay. Thanks to Linkus and the whole Zelda speedrun community for keep wrecking these Zelda games. Keep up the awesome work, and good luck on your run.
Thank you. The crowd is excited today. I mean, it is Friday.
Got time for another?
Yeah, one more.
I've got $40 here from Leave Blank for Anonymous, just as Posa.
Posa. No pausa today. It will be item instead in Japanese. All you weebs out there can read this perfectly, actually. Yeah. I'm not a true weeb. I can't read the text. I just watch anime. Anyways. So coming up right after this intro, the infamous pausa trick, as we just kind of referenced in that donation, is coming up. And this version is a little bit different. So to go over the swim mechanics in Wind Waker, when you swim in the water, you can only swim until a certain amount of speed, and then the game will cap your speed, so you can't swim faster than that. However, a common oversight for developers in a lot of different Nintendo games especially is that they don't cap how fast you can go backwards. So if you're somehow able to get negative speed, you can keep getting negative speed without the game ever capping it. And that is what the manual Super Swim abuses. So in Wind Waker, when you turn around, the game is going to add a very small amount of negative speed. And if you do that frame perfectly, you can actually just gain more and more and more until you eventually get to the speed you need to basically perform a Super Swim. That's why we call it manual. So there's 2 ways of doing this. It used to only be 1, but there's actually something new since the last GDQ. So what we used to do previously, and you're still going to see it because I'm going to do part of it with the old strat and part of it with the new strat, is that I'm going to have to try and pause buffer my game frame perfectly because a human can't theoretically consistently flick the analog stick 30 times a second because the turnarounds have to be frame perfect. However, pretty recently we did discover that you can actually hold a slight angle in the analog stick when you plugged in the controller, so you move the actual dead zone of the analog stick. And that means that you can actually get speed without pause buffering if you can flick the analog stick only about 15 to 17 times per second. It's still a good amount of speed. That's why I can't do it for 30 seconds straight. But I will try and show both methods off so you can get a good idea of how Wind Waker has progressed since it was shown last time at GDQ. Oi! That was a really good one. Beautiful.
Got a bunch of Errol fans in the crowd back here.
Oi! Unfortunately, this is going to be the only time you see her, so you have to enjoy the moment while it lasts. All right, time to wake up, Link. It's time to do this GDQ run. All right. It's also going to be a little bit awkward because right now, since my analog stick thinks that I'm holding towards the right the entire time, even though I'm not touching it, or to the left, sorry. I have to awkwardly hold outside of the notches. So if I want to go up, I have to hold like up towards the right because I'm kind of like playing and trying to go against the force of what the analog stick is doing. But it is essential for the first part. So yeah, I hope you like controller sounds, by the way. There's going to be a bit of it coming up right here. I'm going to do my best to get a good amount of speed so you can get a good idea of what I do when I do these runs nowadays. So let's see. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to jump in the water. And we're not going to get anything out that I would normally do. I'm immediately going to try and go towards this side here. And then we're going to do this. Okay, I should have gotten a decent amount of speed there. Okay. So you're gonna notice that from doing that, Link is now moving backwards in the water. And that is because I was able to get negative speed. Now, like I said, I can't, like normally that would be enough to get all of the speed, but I can't do it 30 times a second, I'm sorry. So I can only get a good amount. But after I do that, I now need to pause buffer this. So what I basically have to do is I have to time this, because if you pause while the pause animation is happening, the game is going to eat your input. So I basically hold down, I double tap the pause button. The reasoning for that is because if I somehow press it a frame early, then at least my backup pause will save me so I don't completely kill all my speed. If I pause one frame late, then it's going to not gain me any speed, but it's not going to lose me any either. So yeah, we're going to do this for a bit. Unfortunately, compared to HD, the pause menu takes a lot longer in this version, so it's a bit awkward. By the way, Gymnast, I'm actually going to need your help here because I can't see where I'm sitting. I actually base when I should do this upon the timer. What is the timer on right now?
The timer is currently at 7 minutes.
7 minutes, okay. Can you let me know when it's at 7:45?
Yeah.
Okay. Here.
We've hit 7:45.
7:45. Let me check my speed quickly then. Okay, I think I need about 70 units of speed more. I look at Link's behavior in the water to base how much speed I have. So my end goal of this is to get enough speed to where Link can move from the center of the screen to behind the camera in only one frame. And that is at about 500 units of speed. For reference, a normal roll would be about 28 units of speed. Okay, let's try this now. Okay. So, all right. Don't get too excited yet. I can still hit the beat. So now you can see the Link is spinning around, and he's basically doing what I was pause buffering automatically because he's turning past the camera one frame. Now I need to very carefully get to the corner of this beach so I can get an area fill. Then I need to turn around and wait. Yep, we're good. This worked. All right. All right.
Yeah, so that is the manual super swim in The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker.
Yeah. And the spooky thing about that is when I did the up target charge right there in the end, if I would be a few frames late, I would lose all my speed and have to redo the entire setup over again with the pause buffering. So that's why I said that it's not over yet. Also, if you ever touch the ground for even just one frame, you lose all of it as well. So you can be forced to start over from the start. So now we escaped all of the early game we got from outset. And you're going to notice that this cutscene is a bit weird. There's just text boxes out in the nowhere. This is actually a cutscene with King of Red Lions, and he's supposed to give you the Wind Waker. However, he's not spawned into the overworld, so you're just talking to nobody, but the cutscene still exists, so you can get the Wind Waker. And in HD, the reason we usually go here, if you watch the previous GDQ runs, is to get the grappling hook. However, on the GameCube version, the most broken item is actually the Wind Waker, so this is the entire purpose we want to go here. Because now we can get the Wind Waker, we can do a glitch doing a storage. Now, there's a lot of different uses with storage. One of the most important ones, however, is something known as dry storage and camera lock. So you remember how I said that the camera can flip me around every frame so that I can gain speed automatically? Well, you can actually do that with the Wind Waker with no speed. So if I climb up a ledge and I take out the Wind Waker so I'm falling with it, and then I cancel it exactly 3 frames before I land, I can double cancel the Wind Waker. Frame early. Frame early. There we go. Okay, so if I do that now, if I take out the Wind Waker, I will actually be able to control Link even though I'm in this mode. So if I hold up an analog stick, since Link normally always has to face the camera when he plays a song since he's doing a cutscene, the camera is locked onto him, which means that if I'm in the water and I hold up, it's going to cause Link to turn around every single frame. And that allows me to get a bunch of speed, and I can then super swim anywhere I want in the ocean. And coming up right here is the closest that Wind Waker has to our roam warp. So I'm actually going to go to this random submarine. However, if I enter this, what's going to happen is there's a bunch of moblins with lanterns. And they're going to act a little bit strange from how they normally would. And I'm now in Forsaken Fortress.
Yeah, so the lantern holding moblins are specifically programmed to throw you in the Forsaken Fortress 1 prison cell if you don't currently have a sword. And that happens anywhere you can encounter a lantern holding moblin.
Normally, you would never notice this in a casual playthrough, since the only times you wouldn't have a sword is beginning of Outset or FF1. So it makes sense, like, design-wise. However, with sequence breaks, you can heavily abuse that. And there's a few reasons we want to do Forsaken Fortress 1. Number 1 is we would really like a sword. And number 2 is that by beating Forsaken Fortress 1, King of Red Lions will spawn onto the overworld of the game, which is essential to make the game run, or to work, I should say, because otherwise you're going to get a soft lock later on. So we're going to be going through this here. Right here, if you want to read like a quick donation before I get to the next section, now would be a decent time for that.
All right, let's take $5 from Agent Otter. Linkus and Gymnast playing Wind Waker? Shut up and take my blue rupee.
Thank you. Right here, after I knock him down so he dies, I make sure I roll next to where we normally land in Forsaken Fortress 1. That's actually because that is the trigger for spawning the sword in the end. So I never had to get it knocked out of my inventory, but it's still going to be there now. I also take the time to pick up the rupees, and these lanterns are always in the same cycle, so I don't really have to worry about it. Coming up also here is going to be the second case scenario of you seeing a use of storage. So like I said earlier, you can use a lot of different, you can do a lot of different things with this storage glitch, and one of which was the super swim. However, you can also do something known as chest storage. So we're going to do the same glitch again, but in this situation, instead of having control over Link in the Wind Waker, we're going to have control over him while opening up a chest. Now, the reasoning this is useful is because the developers actually changed how Link's hitbox is while opening up a chest. So you're going to hear that it's like trying to open up constantly. That's why the sound is weird. Now, when you open up a chest, the developers want you to get closer to the chest than you're normally able to. So they actually shrank Link's hitbox and made the collision not look for like fine details. So what that means is I can walk up here, I can walk up this wall here, and then I want to get up to the top of this room, but that's not going to be a problem because what I can do instead is I can just side hop and just walk up the pillar. And I'm also going to get paid for this, by the way, and the rupee sound here. Thank you. The game supports glitches, I promise. But no, whatever you stored in your chest, you actually get it when you void out or you go through a loading zone and whatnot. So that's how I get it. Right here, I'm going to pick up this barrel. I'm going to wait until the moblin starts walking. So now, and I'm going to drop it. This is a mechanic they have to help casuals, so you don't get spotted as quickly with a barrel. If a guard is looking for you and you have a barrel over your head and you put it down, you have a much smaller hitbox to get spotted for about 5 seconds. So you can use that to your advantage to sneak past them. Coming up right here, I'm just going to kind of finish Forsaken Fortress 1, pick up the sword, and go through a cutscene. So now would be a great time for a couple of donations, actually.
All right, let's take a $512 donation from Modus Ponens.
I said a couple of small donations.
Sorry, but now I started. I got to finish.
Yeah.
My mom loves Zelda, but she died of cancer in November. I wish I could watch this brilliant Wind Waker run with her, but in lieu of that, it's my honor to donate to the Prevent Cancer Foundation in her memory. Good luck, Linkus7, and let's get that Link's Awakening run, and then that super bonus milestone. Honk!
Yeah, if you guys haven't seen Link's Awakening, by the way, on the Switch, when I picked that up when it came out, it was 2 hours. It's now about an hour. So you definitely want to get your donations in, because that run has gone through so much since its launch. It's already an amazing speed run. But yeah, anyway, sorry for cutting you off. Donations, go.
Okay, quick one. Right, $40 from Jose Rui. So I get to see Wind Waker being run while I'm in Italy, and the game isn't even run in Italian this time? I demand my pausa!
I'm sorry.
I also have $100 from Lirastudo. Ha! Ha! Ha!
Well, Italian is the fastest non-Japanese language for
That
this
is
game,
true.
so.
Yeah, if you want to lose 2.5 hours, not doing a couple of the glitches, then you could go with Italian. Maybe we can switch right now. But anyways, we actually have like 3-4 minutes more of cutscenes, so just feel free to go ahead and read donations. I'll let you know.
Oh, wow, cool. Okay. I have from Hero of Seasickness $1,000.
Wow.
And their comment is, "Oi!
Oh!
There is nothing better than a Legend of Zelda run at GDQ. Destroy Ganondorf and destroy cancer." I've also got $200 from Matt Nicholson. "Beating out cancer and great games done quick? Honk to that, I say. Good luck."
Honk win.
That was a long honk. "Good luck on the Wind Waker run." Oi! Oi!
Is this the meme of this run? Oi?
I think that and honk is what's going to get us here.
All right.
Honk. $25 from Oro. "Dude, where's my car?" All right, well, if you're into puns, let's do $20 here from Darian. "What time does the Twilight Princess go to sleep?" "At midnight."
Boo.
This is a great crowd we have here.
Very supportive.
Let's see. $100 from Boomy Go Boom. "Watching AGDQ with my wife after getting through the week sick. Great to see everyone donating and meeting the incentives. Heard the announcement for Link's Awakening and knew we had to chip in. Can't wait to see this game destroyed. Hype!" Hype! $75 from Odd Has One Eye. "Great watching Linkus play Wind Waker. He always delivers fantastic commentary. Keep up the good work."
Thank you. I really appreciate that. But yeah, so now we're finally done with the cutscenes for Forsaken Fortress 1. So the first thing we're going to do now, and a couple of important things that you're going to notice throughout the run, is that now when we beat Forsaken Fortress 1 and we spawn at Windfall, you're going to notice that we kind of popped off right there next to King of Red Lions. And that is very essential because to avoid you from sequence breaking, there's a couple of flags in checking where you should actually spawn in the game, depending on what you have done throughout the game. So in this situation, I'm never going to go and buy the sale and enter King of Red Lions. And that makes the game think that I'm always supposed to be at Windfall Island because I haven't left yet, because that's a check. So that means that wherever I am in the game now, for a long period of time, I should add, if I save and quit the game or if I game over, I will always spawn at Windfall. And that is how the route is based on. We're also actually going to save Tingle here. Tingle in the SD version gives you something known as the Tingle Tuner. You're also going to notice I actually have a chair next to me here. I actually have a Game Boy Advance prepared. I'm going to have to try and double task here using the Game Boy Advance for the Tingle Tuner as well as playing the game. Because there's a specific glitch that actually uses the Tingle Tuner in the run. So you do want to have a Game Boy Advance and a linking cable to perform that glitch. You can't do the run without it, but it's slightly slower, so trying to go fast here. Now after we got the, we rescued Tingle and we got the Tingle Tuner, that is basically everything we need to get at Windfall Island itself. So now I'm gonna go on a quest to basically collect a couple of items I will need to progress further. So the first thing I want to do is I actually want to go and get the grappling hook at Dragon Roost. However, there's a lot of cutscenes there, and getting the bottle there is actually really slow. So I'm going to do something else. I'm instead going to get storage again. I'm going to enter the water, and I'm going to do another super swim right here. And this super swim is going to be towards a submarine at Bomb Isle, because this submarine only actually has 3 enemies, and beating it will give you a bottle. And the game doesn't really check which bottle you have. You just need to be able to basically drop water with a bottle. So because of that, I'm able to go and get a much faster bottle than I'm supposed to.
Yeah, normally going to Dragon Roost Cavern, you'd have to go through a bunch of cutscenes, get the delivery bag, talk to Medley, talk to Komali and then go back to Medley to finally get the bottle that you need.
Yeah. Got a slightly weird angle there, so I'm gonna fix that. There we go. Yeah, also, I'm sorry for the flickering. There's not, unfortunately, much you can do. The game is basically just moving the screen 180 degrees every single frame, so there's not much you can do about that. Yeah, now we should be on a good angle, so down here should be Bomb Isle, and here on the bottom right corner of the coordinates, we should have the submarine. There we go. All right. Now we can go get the bottle. Yeah, it's a little bit tricky to maneuver. So to get the map on the D-pad, you actually need to watch the barrel cutscene at Forsaken Fortress. But I actually never went ahead and watched that cutscene, which means that I need to memorize the ocean by heart and try and maneuver based around that. And it can get a little bit tricky at times. I'm also going to start my Game Boy right here. I plugged it in, right? Yeah, good. All right, and now you're going to notice what I was talking about earlier with Windfall. So right here, I'm going to basically save and quit my game. And instead of spawning outside of the submarine where I should, I will actually spawn at Windfall.
And yeah, this is super useful because it's very easy to super swim off of Windfall Island really quickly. So it's faster than most of the other save warp situations that might have normally happened from wherever we save warp.
Yeah, exactly. And now we're gonna connect the Tingle Tuner. Basically right now it's just sending information over to the Game Boy. If you never actually owned a Game Boy with a linking cable, what the Tingle Tuner actually is it's basically a live updating map. It's kind of like the predecessor of the gamepad. So it has a perfectly updating map on it, and it's easier to find things in the ocean then. There's also some bonuses, like it will give you hints, and if you find something with a Tingle Bomb, you can get a 50 rupee, and a couple of other fun facts like that. But it also has a shop, so you can actually buy certain things. And one of those things are potions. So he will sell you potions, such as a red potion, green potion, or a blue potion. And that is very useful because for one of the glitches in this game, we actually need to be dead at 0 HP. And the only way to survive that is by getting healed while you are in that glitch state. However, with the Tingle Tuner, it doesn't care about you drinking a bottle with soup like it normally would. It just kind of kicks in the heal effect after you pay him. So that's why it's so useful to have this. So right here, I'm going to do a different kind of a super swim. I'm going to actually go towards Fire Mountain right here. And I'm going to go up against it. And I'm actually going to take a lot of damage right now from this. Because he really doesn't want to be against the volcano. And then when I'm at quarter of a heart, I'm gonna maneuver back here. I'm gonna head over to Dragon Roost. Okay. Okay, and then hopefully we can get this right here. This is one of my favorite glitches in the run, so here we go. Okay. Hold this. I just pressed the B button.
Ow.
Yeah, now. Normally I have this on my table and I actually use my nose while I'm zombie hovering, so that I don't need to waste any time pausing the game, but it's kind of hard with this setup, so we just got gymnast, so there we go. All right, so how that glitch actually works is when you go down to 0 HP and you stand up, you have a short amount of time to perform an input before the game over screen appears. So what you can do then is you can do a jump slash, but the game developers actually had the thought of what happens if you do an input during this time. And the reason the time even exists at all is because that's when the fair would kick in and heal you. But if you do the jump slash, then you will do it for 1 frame, and then the game's gonna cancel it, and gravity's gonna kick in and push you down. But because I'm in midair now, if I do a B input, I can do a midair jump slash, and this gains a very small amount of height. So if you press the B button about 8 to 9 times per second, you will gain the same amount of height as gravity is pulling you down. So that means that if you're able to mash like 13, 14, 15 times per second, you can start hovering really, really quickly. That's why you hear so many controller noises, because I'm kind of just going crazy with mashing the B button over there. Okay. Now we're able to enter Dragon Roost, and all of that basically skipped a delivery bag. I normally need to go through a lot of cutscenes to get the delivery bag. Thank you. I'm gonna give that back to you for the next hover. But yeah, so it allows us to enter Dragon Roost early. And I don't actually need to beat any dungeons in the speedrun, by the way. But I do, however, need some items. And in this dungeon, you get the grappling hook, which is the most essential item to make one of the glitches work. So I do need to get it. There is actually one use of the Tingle Tuner right here, which is one of the secrets I mentioned earlier. So Tingle actually gives you a bit of a hint right here. And I can use that to my advantage. So if I have a bomb here, and I will place it on this little crack here where the steam is coming up, if I use a Tingle bomb for 10 rupees, it's actually going to give me a 50 rupee that's hidden right here.
And yes, the fastest way to damage down here is getting just hit by these guys.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Come on.
I'm going to go a little bit safe here as well. All right, so coming up here is the, oh boy, red battery. Oh no, don't die on me. That'd be fun. Panicking looking for AA batteries. It'd be good though, I hope. But yeah, so now I'm going to get another quick storage here, and this is to skip this cutscene coming into this room. I also actually need to explode myself right here, because I need to be at a quarter of a heart. So hopefully I can get the second zombie hover right here. This is the longer one, so let's hope for the best. Okay, here we go. Oh, I almost touched the ground there. Okay. Okay, I think we should be good. Okay.
Yeah, that one's a bit tricky because you have to change the items that are in the Tingle Tuner shop while you're doing the zombie hover.
Yeah.
Because when you start the zombie hover, you're on the Tingle Bomb, but you need to switch over to the red potion.
Yeah. Yeah, that's when I would normally, like I said, use my nose right there. I kind of just matched a bit slower because I had a lot of height. I knew I wouldn't touch the ground, so that I could actually change the items I had equipped. Anyways, this is actually a pretty good time for a few donations because there's a lot of stuff coming up later, so now would be a great time.
Up.
Oh.
Oh.
Oi.
Just having some minor technical difficulties up here, but doing fine. Let's go ahead with Reaper Hulk coming in at $3,000.
Wow.
My wife lost her father to cancer 6 years ago, and a close friend was taken just days ago. GDQ's support of the Prevent Cancer Foundation is a wonderful reminder of the compassion and generosity of the speedrunning community. Thank you all. Now let's fragment memory, prevent cancer, skip barriers, and enjoy an amazing Wind Waker run. I've also got Commodore Perry coming in at $20.20. There might not be any pausa, but it's still for a good causa. Oh, well, in that case, I've also got $20 from CJ. Zelda puns, you say? I've got a medley of them. I could go on and on and on, so don't get impatient.
You might notice right here that the moblin is kind of angled on the side. If you get storage, you can save like a full 1 second because you can hit him while he's landing. And it just looks funny mostly because you can make it so that he's, well, angled and skewed to the side. But yeah, now after we went through all of Dragon Roost, we can now get the grappling hook. Now this is where the run starts to get difficult. Or I should say really difficult. So coming up now is the newest glitch, and it's the main reasoning why we're playing on a Japanese version. So already from the get-go right now, I'm going to start setting up something known as memory corruption. Now both me and Gymnast are going to be explaining parts of this. But basically, for the longest time, barrier skip was not possible on the GameCube version. And the main reasoning for that is because even though we have the Super Sim glitch, that does not work on the ground. It only works in the water, which means there was no glitch to gain a lot of distance and speed on the ground. But Wind Waker HD has something known as item sliding, and that works on the ground. So we found a method to do barrier skip, but it requires a lot of speed, which, you know, lacked on the SD version. However, what we ended up discovering is on the Japanese version, there are some problems and technical issues with how the game sorts out RAM and memory, and that can be heavily abused. So the first thing I'm going to do is I now want to head to Forest Haven, because this is where the start of the setup happens. And this is why this is the hardest part, because if anything goes wrong in the entire setup, which can also be based on luck, not just execution error, I have to go back to this exact point of the game, because I cannot save when I start this until I'm completely done with it. So the first thing I did right there is I got storage. However, I got storage a second time with text on the screen. That allows me to basically have the glitch active while I'm super swimming. And why that's useful is because there's actually a cutscene that wants to play at Forest Haven. But what's going to happen now is you're going to see the Linkus is going to pop in place here. And that's because the cutscene tried to start, but after 1 frame, I stored it so that I simply skipped it entirely. And I'm now going to go in here and I'm going to enter Beetle's boat. And I'm going to buy a bait bag and Swedish meatballs. Oh!
Yeah, this is the first ever Wind Waker route to actually buy bait
Yeah.
any percent run.
The excitement. Yeah, we finally get to see Beetle in a speedrun. I'm pretty happy about that. Right there, I dive down with my Wind Waker so I can go underneath the water, and then I can swim inside of Forest Haven. And if you're in a base of water and there's a base of water above you, you will always get prioritized to be put up to the higher location. So that allows me to skip the entire long sequence of going here, because I just gonna be popped up into the loading zone, and then we're in. Coming up here, I'm actually gonna need to call for focus time. I have to count to 70, exactly 70. It can't be 69, it can't be 71, it has to be 70. So I'm actually gonna go Swedish mode right here, and I'm gonna count in Swedish. Gymnast is also gonna backup count. So if you guys are noticing your IKEA furniture at home is starting to move, I very much do apologize, but I really do need to focus here. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 46 right now. Yeah, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70. All right. All right. So, this glitch will not make a lot of sense, and we're going to get into a lot of detail more later when the actual effects of it is coming into play. But basically, this area has very little RAM available, and by dropping the meatballs out of bounds, it's almost out of memory at this point. So what I do then is I stand at a specific spot where water droplets are coming down from me, and what happens then is I can take out my grappling hook without it actually being pulled out. That's what we call invisible pulls. So right now, in memory, there is 70 grappling hooks at all times, and they will not get cleared. So that's what you need to know for now. Also right here, you're gonna notice that these chews are a little bit strange. Right here, I'm doing something known as DQ cutscene skip. So I stored the cutscene of the chews getting knocked off the tree. So the first frame of the cutscene played, which is when they go forward, but then it got stored and canceled. That means that their AI is messed up, so they just keep going forward in an infinite amount. So what I need to do then is I need to push them out through the wall, because when they go enough far out of bounds, they will actually despawn because of how far away from the game they go. And I need to do this for all of these chews but one. And the main goal of this is that I'm gonna try and basically get crushed by the DQ tree's head at the same time as the last chew died by going too far out of bounds. So now all of them should be out, and now I should only have one left on this right side here. And we're gonna try and do the side up. So I'm gonna try and line this up with the side up here. I'm gonna try and side hop at a specific part of the DQ tree's mouth, and it's gonna count now 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Got it.
We're good.
All right. So basically what ended up happening was the DQ tree normally only does that animation when he tries to shake off the chews. But since I store the cutscene, he keeps doing that animation fully. So if I can get crushed by the head by standing at a specific spot, the game is gonna void me out. But during that entire void out, because of storage, and the game's still running in the background, if the chew dies during the entire void out screen, then it's gonna know that you killed all the chews and the cutscene activated. So it's gonna hit the flag that you watched the cutscene, and you can just go up and get the DQ leaf immediately. So you don't have to watch all of that. And this saves a good amount of time. It's like a solid 2 minutes. Okay.
Yeah, the collision for that floor doesn't quite line up with the visual texture of the leaf.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you shouldn't do this trick. By the way, it saves 4 seconds and loses 50 if you fail it. But I promised everyone I would go for it at home, so thankfully we got it. All right. So, like we were mentioning earlier about that, there's currently 70 grappling hooks loaded in memory. The game is going to do strange things with the memory right now. I'm actually going to let Gymnast kind of explain it as I do this section of the super swims.
Right, so Linkus pulled out 70 invisible grappling hooks earlier while he was inside the Forest Haven. What technically happened during that entire process is Linkus was actually fragmenting roughly 10 kilobytes of in-game memory per each grapple hook that he pulled. So with all those, he managed to fragment successfully about 700 kilobytes of memory that the game uses to just load, like, you know, maps, actors, and all that good stuff. So basically, every time he pulls out the grapple hook, the game uses part of its memory to store information about that grapple hook in one area, but because it can't load more information about the grapple hook in another area, it actually just completely fails to spawn the grapple hook at all. But that previous portion of memory that still has grapple hook information will still hold that information about the grapple hook, but the game doesn't actually know that because it lost the reference to that information. So the game knows that something is there in memory, but it doesn't know what it is, and it's not going to let it be used for anything else, as long as the game is powered on. The game will fix itself if we do like a hard reset or a soft reset, but we're not going to be doing that until we have successfully done the big exploit that's coming up. And so right now, Linkus is actually going to be fragmenting even more memory. We've gotten to a point where we've managed to fragment so much memory within the game's RAM that simply swimming between different islands on the overworld is going to fragment even more memory. So we're doing a very specific series of super swims right here that hit specific islands all in a specific order so that we can hopefully get the memory to be fragmented in a specific way for what's coming up. So first you go to Cabana, and then you swim back over here to the Forest Haven. And then from the Forest Haven, you want to swim north to Bomb Isle. Then over to the right here. Super swimming is a bit weird because your controls are actually inverted while you do this. Now we go back to load Forest Haven again. Now we load Bomb Isle again, then we go over to Bird's Peak Rock, and finally we go over to Thorn Ferry. If the fragmentation is set up correctly so far, you should notice that there are a lot of actors kind of missing here from Thorn Ferry. Specifically, the vines that normally block the island are gone, so we can enter into it.
I almost drowned. Yeah, but yeah, so to simplify that, we loaded a lot of stuff into memory that should not be there. So anytime we load something at this point, there is not enough space for it. So we keep filling up the memory. So imagine at this point that 80% of the game can load, and the other 20% just can't load, to simplify it. And with this specific super sim we just did now, we made sure that the game will not have enough memory to load these vines blocking Thorn Ferry. Simply put. And like Jim has also mentioned, anytime we load anything, we're going to load it. And that's why the time estimate is 1:35, and that's why I said there's a good chance we might redo the setup. That's because anything that takes memory will affect this glitch. So let's say that I get thunder in the game, which is luck-based. That's going to change my memory. If I have water droplets because I was in the water, that's going to change my memory. If there's wind in the background, these lines, they change the memory. So you can make a route that works most of the time, but you can never guarantee it to always work first try, even if you do perfectly, because such small variables does make a difference. That's the kind of how technical this game has gotten, and why it took so long for us to even have any chance at finding these giant sequence breaks. Right here, by the way, I do a death warp, because if I would save and quit, I would kind of just get my memory back. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to keep doing these very specific super sims through these coordinates. However, I'm also going to try and obtain chest storage in the ocean while I'm doing these. So the first thing I need to do is I need to do double storage right here, like I did earlier, so that I can store something while I'm super swimming. That's really good. And then I'm going to also make sure that I'm swimming underneath this dock so that I can keep getting my area fills. And then after I charge up a bit of speed, we're now going to do these specific swims. So I'm going to go from Windfall, and I'm going to head straight upwards so that I load Wind Temple. Then I'm going to leave Wind Temple, and I'm going to go to Crescent Moon. Now I need to be very careful, because if I actually touch the blue choose right here, we'll be screwed. So I need to be very careful. And also the controls are inverted right here, so I need to be very careful to not hit them before I open up this chest. Beautiful. Now we're gonna have this nice emoji. So this is a normal chest storage like in Forsaken Fortress. However, this had a special item in the chest, which is, when you get the jingle and the screen kind of voids out to show, in a bright light, your item you obtained. But since we stored it, it's gonna be no music, so very quiet now. And you're only gonna see the eyes. Hopefully, yes, okay. If I maneuvered right, which I did, we will see the game again, because when the chest unloads, then it's going to unload that effect of making the game pitch black. And I'm now going to super swim at Windfall, and like I said, the order of these swims makes no sense. It's just people went into memory and checked how much kilobytes you can get more on the memory corruption by going to this specific order of things. The reason I specifically want to do it against this part here is because I'm actually getting more air from it, because I'm clipping into the wall with my chest storage, which is why I went here specifically. I'm now going to go here. I'm going to go past this island, and now I want to load Forsaken Fortress 4 times. So 1, 2, 3. Also, all of these turnarounds have to be frame perfect, so it's a bit of a monk-ass mode. Okay, please don't crash my game. Please don't crash my game. Okay. All right, so it's not over yet. So now I made it to Forsaken Fortress, and my game didn't crash. However, we will not know if everything as did went well until I enter the Forsaken Fortress 1's room. However, it's really, really fast to go up and check that. Because of my chest storage, I can just walk up these walls. So I'm just going to be rolling up here.
Yeah, and a lot of the actors at Forsaken Fortress are actually like completely missing right now. Like there's supposed to be a torch right there. There's supposed to be a door frame right here. But,
yeah. All right, let's hope for the best.
Just go in.
Here we go. Yes. All right. It worked. Okay. Okay. All right, so you're gonna notice right now that there's water, there's no music, there's water, and there's 2 pirates kind of drowning down there. Now, this is normally where a cutscene is supposed to play. Now, if you set everything up perfectly, there was not enough memory to load the cutscene. But the area in which the cutscene is being played in is. So that's why you can see the 2 pirates in the water, because that normally appears during the cutscene itself. And I also had to make sure I broke those pods, because if I didn't, then I would actually softlog right here, because the game does not have enough memory to do a loading zone. However, if you break a pod, it clears up a few kilobytes of memory, and you can then open the door. So now I should be able to just head up here, and we should be able to... Oh yeah, also, there's no fight here, because I skipped the cutscene. And I should now be able to just open the door and head down to Hyrule if everything went correct.
All right.
Yeah, we're good. You're also going to notice right here that I actually have a green tunic on me, and I have a Master Sword and a Hero Shield in my hand. Now, the actual green tunic will not stay. Don't worry, it's still a comfy pajama % run. However, the sword and the shield does actually stay, because these cutscenes are actually played in-game. And the R and the B button has the sword and shield equipped to it. And since the shield I didn't even have to begin with, and the sword is a higher upgrade than I previously had, because I had the Hero Sword before, not the Master Sword, they will actually be equipped permanently to my buttons. And that is the entire reason this route works, because you cannot damage Phantom Ganon without a Master Sword. So the only reason this works to begin with is because the game just is hard-coded to attach a Master Sword here to you. Otherwise, we would not actually be able to do this. Either way, there's going to be a lot of stuff to explain when we get down to Hyrule, so now would be a good time for a few donations.
All right. Is this what? Okay. It does work. I am on. What is...
Welcome.
More technical difficulties. It's awesome. Let's do $25 from Carly HB. Had to donate during one of my favorite Zeldas, and for my favorite Zelda runner, Linkus7. Good luck on the run, and let's get that Link's Awakening incentive met.
Yes, let's do it.
I've also got $75 from Hylian Homemaker. So excited for another Wind Waker run by Linkus7. As Beetle would say, thank you to all the runners, and bye to cancer.
All right. You want to read another one?
Yeah, let's do $100 here from James and Leah. Watching Linkus complete the puzzle last year was hilarious and really hooked our attention. But the barrier skip blew my mind. Linkus is such an amazing speedrunner, and we love watching you play Wind Waker. Honk!
Honk.
And while we're on that, one more for audience participation. $5 from Cato Poke Nerd, excuse me. We have some honk. Honk. We have some oi. Oi. But can we get some hoink? Hoink. There we go. Keep being awesome, Linkus. And let's get that Super Mario World 1 mine incentive met.
Thank you. What was that last word?
It was a combination of hoy and honk.
Yeah, that appears to be correct.
Okay. Oi!
Let's see. There's a $10 donation here from someone named Linkums. Hi, Linkums here. People keep mistaking my name for yours. Please advise.
I'm sorry.
How could you do this to that poor man?
I know. I promise to change my username as quick as I can. Anyway, so now we're going down to Hyrule. If you ever watch a Wind Waker stream, you will know about the whole meme about the friend zone thing. Basically, because of how precise this entire route is, if you do not have 2.8 kilobytes of spare RAM, your game is going to soft lock here because it can't load the text box. So in a lot of runs, and they technically could still happen here, but because of how much stuff was loaded in the tower of Forsaken Fortress, I'm not too worried. But sometimes you can not get this text box to load and you're soft lock here forever, while Link is like giving a happy stare at Tetra and she gives a disgusted face because she like is passed out. So it's a really, really weird cutscene that can get soft locked. But now we did actually get through the cutscene, and now we are able to enter Hyrule. Now, barrier skip itself is quite different from the HD version. So on the HD version, you will see that I'm actually basically, I'm going up and I'm doing a speed glitch and a clip through the barrier. What we want is we want it to not load at all. So you cannot corrupt the memory enough that there's no memory to load at all, because these areas are so big that if you would do that, you would just soft lock or crash your game right here. So we basically loaded in a situation where 9 out of 10 objects can load in Hyrule. And which one of these 10 objects that doesn't load is unfortunately luck-based for a human like us. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna leave on the other side here. We're gonna check if the barrier is there or not. And if it is, then we're just gonna go back and forth through the loading zone and check again, and we're gonna do that until it just doesn't load. So now is the time to do bless RNG in the chat and just hope that it's gone.
And he's gonna check with the leaf or not.
Yeah, I wanted to just show the first time. So you're gonna notice right there that the barrier is in fact there. You can also see that the flagpoles are not there. What I'm gonna do for the next attempt is I'm actually gonna blow a leaf. The reasoning for that is because it's slightly faster. So I'm gonna blow the leaf and I'm gonna check if it hits a wall. If it hits a wall, then I know it's actually there. So let's see here. Yeah, so you see that it kind of made a spreading animation when it actually hit something. So I'm gonna do this a couple of times until you see that the leaf doesn't hit anything and it just goes forward. And that's when we know that the barrier is unloaded and we have successfully performed barrier skip.
All right, and for reference, the barrier is a fairly small object memory-wise. It actually takes less memory to load the barrier than it does to load like a text box, because the barrier is like just a small object that's been scaled up to be like absolutely huge on the map.
Yeah. So 4th try, let's see how lucky we can get. If you want to go for a record attempts, this is the unfortunate part. You need really good luck in this. The most I've ever had is like 30-something tries. So we'll see how long we get to hang out here.
Yeah, and each try is about 20 seconds, right?
Yeah, 20 seconds per attempt. This is number 5?
Yep.
5, okay.
So we've successfully lost at least 1 minute and 20 seconds now.
Minute 40.
All due to how the game decided to load this map each time.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's hope it goes away soon. At least we have a high time estimate.
Yeah, we do. So also, each time that Linkus goes back in the castle and then back out to Hyrule, you actually corrupt a very small amount of memory every time you load the like overworld Hyrule. Corrupt like, I think it's 1/3 of a kilobyte or something. So that's why thankfully we can keep doing this here and just keep on retrying.
Is that a Ganon laugh about this that I hear? Wow. Yeah, this is Ganon's revenge for the other GDQs. Oh, man.
Gannon's
Come on.
trying really hard to not make the memory work with you.
Yeah, this is very bad luck. In the practice run we did, because I made a backup save file just in case something did go wrong, I think we got it like 6th or 7th try. I would say that's about average. More than 10 tries is very unlucky. In average, I would say it's probably 10%-ish. There we go. All right. All right.
Barrier go poof.
Yeah, we blew away the barrier. But yeah, so yeah, I apologize for everyone that might have joined this run not from the start, because that might not have made too much sense. But yeah, I recommend it to go and check the entire VOD, because the setup for this one trick takes 20 minutes, so it's quite the long setup. Something really exciting actually was that when I submitted this for GDQ, this run was way less marathon safe than it is now, just due to coincidence. So when I submitted it, I was gonna have to do a crazy zombie hover in the end of the run. But a new glitch was found about a month ago or so. And it makes the last final trick of the run, it's still very difficult, but it makes it a lot more consistent because I don't have to rely on as much luck. So it's gonna be very, very useful. So now what I'm gonna do when I enter the trials right here, and you're also gonna notice that memory corruption is still active, like the bridge doesn't load, so like I can't go over there now. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually head into the Earth Temple trial, and normally we would never enter the trials on any category other than glitchless. But why we want to enter here specifically, and I'm actually going to pause so you can see right here. So normally, if you don't have a bomb bag or arrow or a bow, you cannot get arrow drops or bomb drops. Now, as you can see, I don't have a bomb icon here, but if I pick this up, I have a bombs. And I have a zombie. No, not Oi, that's but yeah. Hello.
They're mad that you stole their bombs.
Yeah. But yeah, so normally, if you don't have a bomb bag, you cannot get a bomb drop anywhere in the game. But for some reason, the Earth Temple trial is the only exception where those coffins are guaranteed to have a bomb drop. And if you pick them up, you will get the bomb icon added into your inventory. Now, I actually don't have a bomb bag, so I only have 0 bombs. But there's another glitch I can do to get around that. Right here, I have to try and do a glitch known as trial skip. Beautiful. First try.
Yes.
So when you climb up a wall, as long as you're partially inside of the wall, if you roll on the very first frame, you can actually clip out of bounds. And then immediately take out the decoy leaf. However, the hard part about this is that you're very low, you're on the same level as the loading zone, and you normally can't just leaf there because you're losing height when you're leafing. But you can do something known as a leaf bump, where you press the A button to cancel it, and then a leaf like a frame later. And by doing that, you can keep actually gaining a small amount of height, because you're basically taking it out and in over and over again. And if you do that like 5-6 times in a row, you can just make it to the loading zone, skipping all of the trials.
Yeah, and so to put that in perspective, the barrier skip saves roughly like 2 hours, probably more than that. The trial skip saves a measly 10 minutes in comparison.
Yeah, it's nothing. Also, here, the mace is always the same. You're supposed to kill Phantom Ganon, and his sword will point towards the right direction. But you can't actually memorize it. It's always down, left, up, left, right, up. So as long as you memorize that, you can kind of just go through the entire maze and get to the end. And I do actually still have memory corruption active in the background of my game. So I need to make sure after I pick up these light arrows to save and quit my game, because I do not want this glitch to be active anymore, because it can cause a lot of troubles, because, well, the game is not going to properly load the last cutscenes of the game, and that would be a very bad time.
Yeah, the boss after getting the light arrows, Puppet Ganon, also doesn't really work correctly if you have too much memory corruption.
Now, about the bombs thing, like I showed earlier, I have 0 bombs, but I have the icon. The arrow, the light arrow, will give me the bow and the 3 elements. However, you're going to notice that there's a difference in this, and that is that you can actually see that I have 60 arrows here. That is because I picked up the quiver upgrade earlier, so that I can actually have usable arrows for Puppet Ganon. Right here also, it's actually doing a full console reset instead of just a soft reset. That is because when I save and quit, it's going to realize that the memory has been corrupted, or, you know, it's not properly working the way it should. So it actually completely turns off the console and reboots it. and that allows me to then be back on track. So now we're just playing. We shouldn't worry about any crashes or soft locks or anything like that. So now we should be able to make our way through here. I thought I was gonna miss. All right. Anyways, so we're gonna head up to Puppet Cannon now. So now would be a good time for a donation or two.
All right, got a couple of quick ones here. I have a $70 anonymous donation. $70 for the lesson on counting to 70 in Swedish.
You're welcome.
On the other hand, a Brad donates $250. Linkus, can you please tell all my furniture to go back to where it was? I'm feeling a little cramped right now.
I'm sorry, but maybe next year.
One more quick one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's do $25 from That Morrow Gal. My favorite Zelda joke. Why hasn't Link heard about the Gorons? They're too underground. Great run, Linkus.
Thank you. Oh, wait. But yeah, so now what you're going to notice in this cutscene is it's very similar to the previous cutscene. You're going to notice that I have a fully upgraded Master Sword now and a Mirror Shield. Thank you, game. And it's the same situation as last time. This cutscene actually uses those items. So we now actually have the fully charged Master Sword and the Mirror Shield, even though we never had to get it. And the items we have obtained throughout the game is going to be the quiver and the light arrows, so I can actually fight Puppet Cannon properly. We also got the grappling hook, so we can grapple up the tower. We got bombs, which is going to come into use later with a glitch with the Tingle Tuner. So that is all the items you actually basically need to beat the game. So we are all prepared now. Also, if you're wondering why I actually went ahead and got the leaf, the main reasoning we even get the leaf in the speedrun to begin with is mainly not for the leaf itself, but more for the fact that that gives you magic, and magic is necessary for light arrows. And all of those limitations just comes down to this one fight right here, Puppet Cannon. Hopefully the Swedish sniper can come out for once. It's been a bit rusty at these GDQ events, so hopefully it will go well.
Yeah, the leaf is also nice because it's what allows us to blow the little spiky ball enemies called Morths up to the final platform after this fight.
You don't like fairy hover?
No.
All right, here we go. Get your rees in the chat. Let's go. Oh boy.
Yeah, so normally the game would want you to use the boomerang to knock down the tail of Puppet Cannon on his first phase, but it's not required to do that. So the fastest way to beat this boss is by simply sniping the tails 3 times in a row, which is difficult because the tail moves around very erratically. So
and randomly as well.
Yeah.
Okay. 1. Bomb. 2. It's too close. Yeah, go for it. 3. Okay. All right, for the first phase, it is the hardest one because you do have to actually snipe them when he's going up there. For the second one, there is actually one strat you can do. I'll attempt it once. It is known as Trip Shot. So normally, he has to come up and down 3 times for 3 phases. However, if you have a perfect angle, you have 1 frame to shoot him while he's moving up again. And that allows you to do a double shot, so he only has to come up and down twice. Let's see if I couldn't hit it or not. Let's see here. Got it. Beautiful.
Thankfully, we got a magic drop from one of the keys there.
Yeah, if I wouldn't have gotten a magic drop, I would have been screwed. I'm also going to take damage here on purpose, by the way. We'll need it for later. All right, and now we only have 3rd phase. because I only got one magic drop from those keys, normally I would show off some cool shots on this phase. But if I run out of magic, it's a very bad situation. So unfortunately, due to my bad luck on the magic drops previously, I'm gonna have to just do these shots here. Actually, would prefer if you can damage me here. All right. All right. So coming up now, if you watch the previous 90% Wind Waker round, which was on the speedrun of the HD version back in AGDQ 2018, you will know the trick that is about to come up right here. We struggled quite a lot. This is the Morph Hover. So one of the essential items to make it to the final platform in the game is the hook shot. But we do not have a hook shot, unfortunately. And getting it is basically impossible because you cannot get it early, and to actually get it properly, you have to go to Wind Temple, which requires you to beat every single dungeon, so it's out of the question. And you cannot use the Tingle Tuner like I was using earlier to heal myself from a zombie hover, because it only works in areas where you actually have a map. And this room, if I press D-pad up right here, nothing actually is happening because there's no dungeon map for specifically Ganon's Tower. So because of that, I have to get creative. Fortunately, there is a way around that, and that is something known as Morph Hover. Before we get onto the Morph Hover part, I actually want to take a bit of damage. And this is what I was talking about earlier with the bomb trick, the newest trick that was recently discovered. So I'm actually going to do that now to take damage. So if you have the Tingle Tuner equipped, and then you press the Tingle Tuner button on the same frame you pause the game, he will take out and do the text box of the Tingle Tuner, but he's going to take out in his hand the item that was actually equipped. And because I equip it on the same frame to a bomb, he's actually going to hold a bomb over his head instead. That allows me to basically use bombs even though I have exactly 0 of them. So that's how I'm able to do this thing here. Okay, we're going to go here. We're going to hook shut up.
Very appropriate that there's no music here. Just adds to the tension.
Yeah, and also the heart beeping sound effect. All right, we're gonna get some magic. All right, so now when I make it to the top, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna clear the warp pot, but then after that, I'm going to do the morph glitch. So normally in this specific room, morphs can only drop hearts if they're killed by the Master Sword, not any other items. That is because normally Phantom Ganon can actually kill them when he's running around, so they made it like that. That is a problem, however, because I want to kill it with a bow. Fortunately, Gymnast was able to find a way around this after a long time of looking. So, if I line up perfectly, what I can do is I can slash the morph on the same frame that I walk into him, because if you don't know these morphs, if you walk into them, they will jump onto you. So if I do this perfectly, you can hear I hit him, but he's on me. Then I will roll and just pray to RNG that he moves in a good direction. Unfortunately, that is all luck right there. And I want him to go backwards because I need to get him off of me so I can blow him up onto the final platform for this trick to work. Okay. Okay. So now I'm going to blow this morph here. And now I need to get him up onto this final platform right here. That is the mission here. And now, whatever he dies by right now, he will actually drop a heart. And that is the entire reason we do this setup. So I'm going to get him up on this platform here. Hopefully we can get this first try. I did clear up the warp pod in case not, but we'll...
That's good.
I don't know how we ended up there.
Yeah.
Okay. Focused. All right, here we go. Got it. Oh, man. Thank you, guys. I was really nervous about that one. But yeah, okay, let's breathe. So, what I ended up doing there was I basically just combined everything I mentioned. So I shot him with the arrow. I immediately pressed the tingle tuner and paused my game, took out the bomb, slashed it, and then I have to zombie hover, and I need to go against the platform before I kept on my tempo, so I was lined up with the heart. And I also need to be really fast with this, because the heart despawns after 10 seconds. So if you do it perfectly, you get up there in like 8, so you only have like 1 to 2 seconds to spare in that entire hover. And also, if you fall, you can get an uneven frame where you'll land on the ground in the same frame the heart hits you, and you don't get it. So there's a lot of stuff that can go wrong there. So fortunately, we did get that. All right. I think we have time for like the final donation of the run. So this, you can pick the best one in your opinion. I know all of them are great, but what's your favorite that you can see right now?
Oh man, that's that's a lot of pressure. We're gonna go ahead and go with $25 from Nats fan. Had to donate after the Swedish counting in Wind Waker. Incredible Swede running at this event. Put this towards the runner's choice.
Thank you. All right. During this cutscene, there's a couple of fun little like facts about like this, how they actually designed this cutscene. So, for example, like right here, now basically, if you don't read Japanese, it basically says whoever holds a Triforce has its power, and you can see that the king actually is holding the Triforce. But if you go into free camera, you can see that he's like really far away from it. He's multiple feet away. So technically no one is holding the Triforce. So there's a bunch of weird quirks in this cutscene like that just off screen when they did smart camera motions. Also, I'm not sure if anyone in the crowd has been here for a previous Wind Waker run, but what is about to come up soon is a very important tradition. And that is that we're going to basically laugh with Ganondorf. So I want everyone in the chat and everyone in the crowd to be ready, and let's do this. Here we go. All right, beautiful. That was a great job. Great job. Oi.
Oi.
Thank you. All right. So now we're gonna start this fight. I'm still actually at 1 heart. However, there is a little bit of an Easter egg that Nintendo put in. I don't think it's ever actually mentioned in the game itself, to my knowledge, or even in instructions for that matter. But if you have the grappling hook and you use the grappling hook on Zelda, you can get an infinite amount of 3 hearts from her. So if you ever run out of hearts during this fight, just equip the grappling hook, target Zelda, and grapple her. And that's what I'm gonna do right here, because I prefer not to get one hit by Ganon. So I'm gonna equip the grappling hook and I'm gonna try and grapple Zelda. Hopefully she doesn't troll me or do like team fire or anything like that. That happens sometimes. So we'll see here.
Yeah, the light arrows that Zelda shoots can actually hit and damage Link.
Yeah, there we go, thank you. Face down. Nice to time these.
Good RNG.
Beautiful.
Alright. Time will be coming up.
Yeah, time is about to come up. So get ready on time. All right, and time. That was the time. Wow, that's really good. Lost dude. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. That was an amazing run. I was very nervous about this run. I know that Wind Waker in general is a very unforgiving speed run, but this takes the record for the most non-marathon save Zelda game I definitely ran, and I'm very happy that everything worked first try. I had a lot of trouble in practice coming here. I was even making speculations about your power, making my Wii weird, and weird stuff like that, because it was just not working, but I'm happy that it worked this time. But yeah. If you guys want to watch more Zelda speedruns, you should check out my Twitch channel at Linkus7. I speedrun a ton of different Zelda games. A lot of Wind Waker HD. I'm also picking up Breath of the Wild 100%, which is a fun three-day grind. So if you want to watch someone stay up for 50 hours, you should check that out. Also, if you're interested in learning this game, there's an amazing Discord. You can go to speedrun.com/TWW. I also, right before going to this event, made a full any % speedrun tutorial and commentary for this game. So it'll be easier for people that saw this run just now and are interested to pick up the game. So I hope that helps you out. But anyway, thank you so much, Games Done Quick, for having me. Thank you, crowd, for being so supportive. And thank you guys for watching.
What an incredible run. Thank you so much, Linkus. That was, oh man, that was mind-boggling. All right, for those of you who may just be joining us, welcome to Awesome Games Done Quick 2020, coming to you live from Orlando, Florida. We're going to do a quick Twitch ad and then get back to some more donations. Don't go anywhere. And we're back. This is AGDQ2020. That's going to wrap it up for me over here on the hosting desk for this event. It's been awesome being with you all. Thank you so much. We are going to throw it over to an interview with our Super Mario World runners, starting now.
Hey, everybody. I'm Fees.
I'm Keys.
And this is not the Keys and Fees show. This is absolutely not the same thing as that at all. Ignore the fact that one of our guests is here with us. We're actually here talking to Lack Attack and Authorblues about their upcoming run of Super Mario World 1 Mind. So first question I have to ask you here, this is not a normal two-player co-op run. This is completely different than that. Tell us a little bit about this run that you're doing.
Yeah, so One Mind is a hack of Super Mario World in which two players are playing the game with two controllers, but control of the only character alternates back and forth between the two controllers over time.
So it's like the two-player, one controller thing, except it's two players, two controllers, but one character and you kind of have to both be doing the exact same thing with that character, otherwise it's kind of chaos.
Yeah, that's a lot to unpack. So it's like 2 players, 1 controller, but 2 players. So the name of the hack, One Mind, is sort of inspired by the idea that if both players have the exact same plan, have the exact same strategy, if they're of one mind, then you're going to get basically a normal playthrough. It's not going to be anything strange. But as is the case with Super Mario World, and probably with most platformers, everyone has slightly varying strategies. It's not the sort of game where, there's no room for flexibility. And so because of that, small differences, if I'm planning to jump, a few pixels early, he's planning to jump a few pixels late. If control alternates at exactly the wrong time, my button does nothing, and then his button does nothing, and there you are.
Okay, so the ROM, this is a ROM hack, and it actually just switches which person it's taking the input from every what?
So for normal mode, it alternates every 2 to 8 seconds. It gives you a little audio cue telling you that the change is coming up. And you can actually see it visually in the game as well. So it's Mario's sprite, and then when it changes over, it's Luigi's sprite. So normal mode is a random amount of time between 2 and 8 seconds. Hard mode's every 30 frames, so twice per second it switches.
What are you going to be playing on?
So we have a donation incentive right now, still open. It's about 60% of the way to being met. And if it gets met, then we will do it in hard mode. And the nice thing about this ROM hack is actually that you can turn on hard mode at any point. So even if it doesn't get met until the run starts, we can turn it on the moment it gets met. So.
Okay, that's cool. That's pretty unique.
Now, I have a really important question that does involve this run. You two are very tall gentlemen, so does that affect your One Mind at all?
Absolutely. Because we're closer together vertically, the thoughts can go back and forth quickly.
Yeah, it does help a lot with that. Plus, the fact that we sort of are at the same eye level, it means that the light from the screen hits our eyes at the same time. It allows us to be better in sync. So.
You'd believe that was a serious question and answer if you didn't know better. So.
That's like a pretty serious answer to me.
Your turn, buddy.
Right. So who's Mario and who's Luigi?
I'm playing as Mario, and
I'll be Luigi.
Okay, but it's the same. It's Mario-Luigi though.
Right.
It's like they,
Once it starts flipping,
Luario. Okay.
Oh, I hate that so much. That's
yeah,
so cursed.
Still with
That's
Luigi.
Yeah.
I mean, once it starts going every 30 frames, I mean, the red and the green blend together, and you just have not a great color. Yeah, it's just brown.
Yeah, I'm sure the donation comments will help us out with names for the Mario-Luigi combination that are
I'd love to hear them.
come up with. I'm sure.
That is your encouragement at home to give us the best combination you can. Now, speaking of combinations, do you think there are any other games where this One Mind could apply just as well as in Super Mario World?
There is a One Mind hack for Link to the Past as well, and so I'm not sure the details on that one, but that one is out there and people have played it.
Yeah, so the One Mind hack, the first one that was made by Dots Are Cool, who's really well known in the Super Mario World community for creating a lot of great tools for speedrunners, and in addition to that, every now and then he comes up with a clever idea for a small ROM hack, a small edit to the game. The one for Super Mario, or for A Link to the Past, was created by Keizaron, and it does mostly the same things. The color palette swaps back and forth as well. You get a little sound cue letting you know what's going to happen. I think the difference between playing a platformer, though, and a game like A Link to the Past is that it's fairly well established what the plan is. Every room is sort of really polished, and there's not a lot of as much room for variation. There's a right answer to most every room, whereas with a platformer, anyone can make any subtly different choice.
Right. There's pits all over the place.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think
that's the problem.
The pits make it a good One Mind candidate. So Mega Man and
Love
Mario.
to see it for other games, though.
Yeah,
I'd love to see it in Mega Man. That'd be really cool to see.
Yeah,
Mega
exactly.
Man would be really
I think any sort of platformer would really shine with One Mind. I think there's a lot of room for other games. I think the Link to the Past One Mind hack is great, but I think platformers are where it really shines.
I think I'd really like to see like Super Metroid. I think that'd be like a
Yeah,
really
that'd be
fun
interesting.
One Mind.
That would be
Especially
super
if
cool.
we have people that are ones save the animals and ones kill the animals. And
That's true.
They just walk back and forth.
Yeah, they're stuck in a loop.
So you mentioned that the strategies have to be exactly the same. You have to be doing literally the same thing, and there's lots of little variations. How did you guys decide which variation on the route that you're going to use? Like, do you just you played it enough times to say, all right, no, if you're doing this and I'm doing this, we need to decide who's doing what? Like, how do you do that for every single level and every single piece of the level? How do you get together?
Well, Authorblues actually taught me how to speedrun Super Mario World. I don't know, was that like 6 years ago or maybe 5 years ago?
Something
It was
like
a long
that.
time ago.
Something like that, yeah.
So we have kind of the same approach to the game. That has kind of deteriorated over the years. So
It's been a while.
We did the run, and then we did the submission run, and we did some practice, and found out quickly that we had different ideas of when we should jump.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of just diving directly into pits. So we laughed a lot. We were hoping to continue laughing on stage.
What were your first runs like? First of all, how long ago did you start practicing this together? Like, when's the first time you did it? And what was that like?
So our submission video for One Mind was the only time we had played it previously. And it went really great. It was a pretty cold attempt at it, and we did pretty well. We have practiced a little bit on site. We were anticipating. So the thing about One Mind is if it goes perfectly, then it looks like a normal 11
That's
exit
true.
run.
Right.
And if it goes terribly, it looks like neither of us have ever played Super Mario World before.
Right.
So really, you're sort of aiming somewhere in the middle. And so we practiced a little bit, just mostly to try to feel more confident. You know, neither of us had touched it in a little while. We didn't get together in person to practice, and we figured we would hash that out here. And the first attempt was rough.
That's putting it gently.
Yeah. So we came back. We gave it a little bit of
We
practice.
regrouped. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the thing was that we hadn't really put a lot of time into 11 exit recently, and I think once we both got on our feet again, the One Mind run itself became a lot more polished.
So was all the practice you did on site, is that all the practice you've done together in person, or did you do any practice?
No, we
together?
made a submission video for.
Well, besides the
But other than
yes.
that, in between, just nothing.
Just nothing.
Just nothing.
Did you practice by just doing 11 exit on your own?
I did.
He has done an 11
Yeah.
exit recently.
Actually on the Switch. That was the only way I practiced.
Okay.
And I've played Super Mario World not too long ago, but not specifically 11 exit. But coming together, we knocked the rust off, and I think we're happy with where it is now. So.
Okay. So, what do you think I should ask you? Because I ran out of questions.
Oh, that's fantastic.
We just love putting you on the
I know.
I know.
Anytime you're in the room with
this was
both
the
of us,
second
just
day.
throw it to you.
I'm
was a
never
trick.
coming back to the interview couch again. This is the second time in a row that's been my job to figure out content for the interview desk.
No.
You think we should do social media?
I think that's great.
Yeah, that worked yesterday. We could try that again.
That's called a good 10 minutes last time. So how about this
Sure.
one? This is from Matthew. I hope so. Aside from One Mind, what's the coolest new mechanic you've seen created for SMW or other games?
Coolest new mechanic. What you got?
I mean, it's probably in the last couple of years, but the SMZ3 multi-world, just the multi-world in general of using the flashcards with internet capabilities I mean, I've seen, like, I think it has capability for 128 people at once. I don't think it's ever gotten that high, but I've participated in several and gotten, I think we got up to 11 people. So it lasted a long time. But it was, that's really fun, just kind of seeing where technology takes this hobby and just kind of bringing people together, playing these games in just a different way. It's, you know, more of a collaborative effort than just solo speedrunning. So that's really cool.
I definitely have to advocate for the Super Mario World hacking community. There's a really active scene for Super Mario World hacking even now. And it's not just sort of the Keizo hacks that you see at GDQ. There's a really active community coming up with a lot of really new and interesting things. There have been a few hacks, community-run hacks that have come out recently called Jump, J-U-M-P, Janked Up Mario Party.
Yep.
And those hacks bring together some of the most creative ideas in the entire community, and like every level has fascinating mechanics in it. Like individually, each level changes the mechanics entirely. Brilliant stuff, so.
Cool. Well, that's good to know. Yeah, I seem to remember the Super Mario World ROM hacking community going way back. One of the first hacks I ever saw was of that game. So.
Yeah, it's a really, really flourishing community.
Yeah. All right, next question we have here is from Rizu Brown, who asks, Authorblues and Lack Attack, are there any differences in strats between normal and hard mode?
So I think it is pretty pronounced in its differences. So if you're playing in normal mode, because it gives you a sound cue when it's going to change, and because you get so much time to have control on your own, you can really go completely in on your own strats, and even if the changeover is going to happen in an inconvenient time, you could really ultimately just stop and wait for the changeover to happen. With hard mode, you really can't do anything other than sort of a prepackaged thing that you know the other person's going to do. Everything's changing so fast, constantly, that you basically have to be sticking to some sort of script, and there's really no room to deviate too much from it.
A lot of decisions are made on the fly, usually when you're in the air, when you're going to come back to or just go down the pit. So it's you can have the idea, but you may abort and just you may talk about it for a moment. I think there's a little more communication in hard mode, even though it's frantic.
Yeah.
And usually ends in laughing or crying.
Okay.
Laughing, crying.
Yeah.
Both, sometimes a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we do have from @SpaceGecko252, and we did touch up on this a little bit, but how exactly do you two coordinate during a run like this?
So we do talk during the run. So there's a lot of stages where it's pretty obvious what we're going to do, and so it goes pretty straightforward. But that being said, there's a lot of stages in which we have to communicate on the fly about something's not going right, it's not going to end up the way we want it to, and so we have to readjust. Most notably is the Bowser fight, because while most of the Bowser fight's fairly straightforward, you actually have to throw those Mecha Koopas at Bowser, and timing throwing them is something that's really sort of almost instinctual, like you time it whenever you need to, and if you don't communicate, it's hard to actually make that happen.
Right, and you're doing the actual proper strats of like flying and...
We're going to do our best.
We're going to try.
Okay.
Yeah. We have a cape, we'll do it.
All right.
Now,
Cool.
Speaking of trying, we don't have Scent with us right now, but I'm going to try my best. So I'm sorry ahead of time. We are going to talk about a couple of prizes here, including the Koopalings art, which, by the way, these prizes I'm talking about, you can donate right now until the very start of the upcoming run, and you will qualify for it. So we do have the Koopalings art for a $5 minimum donation. I have no idea if we have that lined up over there. I'm doing a really good job of being sent, because that's something that he would absolutely wonder where it is. We also have the Legend of Zelda diamond painting, which is a $40 minimum donation. I wish I had the paintings. Just pretend I'm holding.
Right.
This is the painting. Right. There you go.
Oh, there we go. Cool.
Perfect. It's there somewhere. I don't think it actually is there. There's some nesting dolls. There's
that Mega Man helmet.
Yeah, there's the Mega Man helmet. There's a lot of stuff here, like the Legend of Zelda Goddess's Crest framed prints, which I don't. Is that one there? I'm so sorry, Sen. I'm trying my best. That would be a $20 minimum donation. And then we also have the Legend of Zelda graphic novel set, which probably also isn't on there. It might be. Oh, is that it behind me? I think it is.
There it is.
Yeah, there we go. Sen, don't fire me. That's a $10 minimum donation. And then we also have a bunch of enamel pins in this Legend of Zelda Heart Enamel Pin prize pack. That is a $5 minimum donation. Do we have the rupee statues over there? I don't think we do. There are some rupee statues you could get for $15. I believe there's a double-sided poster that may either be behind me or in the prize area. This is why we have Scent for this stuff.
I'll tell you where it is, though.
Donation.
Go to gamesdonequick.com and you can see the prizes there. You can see all this stuff.
And there's also, I know that's over there because I see it right now. There is the Wind Waker Kokeshi doll set, and that is a $15 minimum donation. Yes, there it is.
Pretty. There
Beautiful. They are. It's like they're one-minding almost. Look, that's.
I want to open up and see what's inside that.
One mind, of course.
Of course.
There's also a Wario lap quilt you could get for $30. There's a lot of stuff. Just go to gamesdonequick.com. You will find a lot of stuff that you can donate and qualify for. There's also stuff like the grand prize, which includes something. Sorry,
it's a Hylian shield.
There we go.
A Hylian shield and a
it.
Master Sword that is made by Heroic Replicas. Is that the right thing?
Yes.
I listened to Scent
We're getting
enough
a
times.
thumbs
I
up.
should know this. There you go.
There's also like the Yeti custom GDQ PC, which that's a $100 minimum donation. And that you can actually donate for all the way until the end of the marathon. There's also that very, very massive Sony prize pack and a PS4 Pro, which that's a $75 minimum donation. And that's going to be until the end of Control.
And what do you think? Should we wrap this
thinking
up,
we
or do you
should-
want to bring in the shark now? Should we
I
wait?
think we should never, ever try to
We're not bringing the
present
shark?
ever again.
Yeah, this is harder than it looks.
Hey, Auth.
It wasn't until this moment that I realized sense value when I watched
Right.
you go through the.
All right, hear me out, Auth. So 3 days in a row, I want to utilize you. So how about tomorrow?
Not a chance.
All right, well, I think we're going to wrap this up.
All right.
So thanks a lot, everyone. I was Keizaron.
And I was Feasel.
Have fun watching GDQ, guys.
Thank you very much to Keys and Fees for that interview. We are back here. Awesome Games Done Quick 2020 here in Orlando, Florida. And we're still getting set up for the Super Mario 64 randomizer race. So thank you everybody who's donated so far. We do have some donations to get through. I have a $500 donation from Sean and Tess Griffin. Are you ready for what they say? Honk. Thank you very much for that donation. I have $50 from Delver01 who says, donating on behalf of my 7-year-old daughter who loves watching the runners play the game the wrong way. Thank you very much. I have $75 from Parker who says, open bracket, insert a clever pun from the announcer here, close bracket. Wait, I'm supposed to do a pun. Hang on. What kind of pants does Mario wear? Denim, denim, denim. If you want more puns, you have to donate for them, for whoever yelled that in the crowd. That's my price. As a quick update, Super Mario World One Mind Hard Mode, which they were just talking about quite a bit during the interview, is sitting at just a bit over 32,500 out of the 50,000 needed. So that means we just need a little bit more than $27,000 to get that in. It's going to be a lot of fun. You want to make sure you get your donations in for that. I have $20 from Cyberbot X that says, I'm looking forward to these late night Mario runs. Good luck to the runners of those. In fact, let's make the One Mind run hard. Sorry, not sorry, Lackanoth. I have $100 from Gerbil Fury, who says, I am glad my husband introduced me to this event. We try to watch as much as we can every year. One of our favorite memories of GDQ was witnessing the donation train to the first 3 million total. Here's to millions more for charity. Let's go to 3 million and beyond. I have $100 from Manny, who says, hey guys, love what you're doing here. This is my first time seeing AGDQ live. Seeing the Wind Waker run just blew my mind. Sending love from New York. Thank you very much. We're getting a lot of donations, and a lot of them have pretty large amounts, so I just do want to take a moment to thank everybody who's sending in donations, no matter the amount that you're donating.
Every bit helps, and we do appreciate every donation that is sent to us. If you can't afford much, we do appreciate everything that you do send. And if you can't afford to donate right now, just make sure you tell other people about what we're doing. We're speedrunning games, raising money for a good cause. And you can always send people over to our website, gamesdonequick.com, to let them know about it. I have a $100 donation from an anonymous donor. It says, coming fresh off reading the news of Neil Peart's death from cancer, the official statement from his bandmates asked that those wishing to show their condolences do so by making a donation to a cancer research group or charity. So here's a donation in memory of one of my biggest inspirations as a musician. Thank you very much for that donation. I have $100 from the name is uppercase, and it's written one word, all lowercase. I figured that part was important. And it says, I honestly just like to see the donation tracker go up. And, you know, that's reasonable. Watching that animation on the break screen, it's pretty. Thank you very much for the donation. It goes to a great cause. I've said that it's going to a great cause a lot, but let's take a moment to talk about Prevent Cancer Foundation. The Prevent Cancer Foundation, founded in 1985, is a US-based nonprofit organization. Their mission is to save lives across all populations through cancer prevention and early detection by focusing their work through research, education, outreach, and advocacy. Their vision is to stop cancer before it starts. You can find out more information about PCF at preventcancer.org. I have $1,000 from Alex50. Thank you very much, Alex, for your donation. And they say, let's see Link's Awakening. And if we check real quick, you all have already raised over $30,000 towards Link's Awakening while pushing for One Mind pretty hard. So thank you, everybody who's donating and kicking in for these donation incentives. We're just a little bit over 15,000 away from One Mind hard mode. So given that they're coming up after this run, let's try and get that met before the end of Super Mario 64. Seems like a pretty easy goal, right? We got a donation here during the interview. That's $20 from JMRMRJMR. Says, had to donate watching a runner, no, the runner that got me into speedrunning, Lack Attack. If we unlock Link's Awakening, I'll donate another $20 towards something? The animals? Thanks all. I have $250 from K-Link, who says, let's do this. Hard mode, One Mind. We've got $50 from Wilson, who says, donating another $50 to see the cutest Zelda game ever made, Link's Awakening played. Also donating in honor of my uncle whose cancer has resurfaced. This event has come at the perfect time for my family and it's nice to see. Kick cancer in the honk. So some pretty good honks I'm hearing out in the crowd.